And before we get into this review, let's get this part over with.
Yuri, 今日から俺はお前のコーチになる。
Gay!
Alright, and now that we're done with that, and we got that out of our system, because, wow, if it wouldn't be a Yuri on Ice video if I didn't point out all that. So, let's get to the actual show and what matters in the show. Yuri on Ice is a plague that has swarmed over the everything of anime, being this season's, well, ReZero, erased in pretty much any popular anime of a season, having people on one side fighting over it being the greatest thing ever created, and then other people hating it because it's so freaking popular and it's just so overrated. But today I am going to give you my review of it, and hopefully I will make this review as middle ground as possible, not sounding too biased, because honestly I liked it, but I didn't love it, so maybe that will give some good middle ground for this show. So let's get into my review of Yuri on Ice. The biggest thing I think that drew people to the show in the first place would be the, of course, relationship between Victor and Yuri. And also, I like the other aspect of having the other Yuri in there. Yeah, having two Yuris is a little strange. But aside from that, their relationship toward all three as a whole is very interesting and also is very unique in the fact that it starts out as a character who looks up to somebody, and that relationship actually forms into something maybe probably a little more than friendship, which is something I haven't actually seen much in anime. You see people like Hero Academia where they meet their idol, but it doesn't really turn into much past that. They're friends, but not, yeah, they don't go above and beyond that. But the use of ice skating and in general just the idolizing of this character makes their relationship and how it can grow over time believable. They speak to each other through their skating, and it works. And also the rivalry with the other Yuri thrown in there creates that, it wouldn't be tension, but it creates a sort of dynamic around all three that fits. A sort of competition and also a stronger form of relationship is thrown in there. And then that forms into the other thing that I liked about the show, and again I think a lot of other people. It's charming, and it has emotion, it cares. It's not anything too really forced. Like when I see Your Lie in April, I love that show. And it has very emotional moments, but its comedy is kind of off kilter. It doesn't balance it that well and seems out of place. I like that this anime is original, being that it can run off its own emotions, not having to force anything that's in the manga into the screen and make it at times feel off pace. Being it's original, they can do this fluidly, even though they don't hit it perfectly all the time, which I will talk about later. But overall, its emotion and charm really wins me over when first watching. And man, it wouldn't be ice skating without some beautiful music, because I mean, they skate to music, so I'd hope that it's pretty strong. It's like having Your Lie in April without the music. But still, yeah, the music for this show is absolutely beautiful and fits the tone of ice skating and the fluidity of the ice skating very well. Actually having a great variety of it too, especially for when they're skating. Some is upbeat and really highly intense, which I felt like a lot of those didn't get the highest scores when watching the show, but then the more emotional toned ones were very well played out. And it fit the emotion between the characters outside of the ice rink well too, creating at times a sort of warming feeling whenever they were at home. And then this very emotional and melodramatic sort of music that fit the tone. More emotional scenes, which makes sense. This is sort of a it's a melodramatic show. What am I gonna say? It's very dramatic at times, when a little too much. But hey, it's what these shows do. Now we get to the things that are neutral. I wouldn't say they're inherently bad, even though some of these could be on the verge of being not the best thing for a show when I go into them. At first, animation. Man, everybody praised this show for the animation at the beginning, and I can't really blame them, because holy crap, that gyroscoping, the fluidity of skating as a whole was very impressive at the start. And the detail in the backgrounds was very warming, and I couldn't help but be drawn into the world that they're in. But as the show went on, and like many shows have, I don't know, budget-wise it started to spread thin, time-wise it started to spread thin. They had to rush things, but you could see the laziness kind of form through, as a lot of the skating was repetition. It was the same skating over and over again. They used these same models, maybe with different clothes, and these same movements and animation every time. But nonetheless, it was fluid, but it was repetitive after a while, so you didn't get to see a whole lot of new stuff. And also, the main character's animation is the jumpiest and worst of almost any of the characters in the show. Why they would do that, I have no idea. Maybe that one's hand-drawn and the others aren't, but then I looked at it again and yeah, some of those are hand-drawn and they're damn fluid. But Yuri is the jumpiest of any of them. Also, there were slight mistakes in animation later on, especially backgrounds that jumped. That was very off-putting. Next, side skaters. I'm not going to go side characters because I feel like they're supportive. They're not there for any great purpose, but when it came to the side skaters, they weren't exactly put on the forefront. They were focused on. We got introductions for them, but a lot of their character development and background was kind of given during skating, and that was it. Outside of that, we just got to see some more of their characterization that we already saw before, and it got repetitive for that part. But when it got to skating, we got their backstory and some of their motivation for why they're skating, and that's it. They did that over and over again almost every single time we saw somebody skate, but we had no real development for them at present time, and it felt rushed and forced just by the fact we didn't get to see their characterization change from the beginning to end at all. Sure, not inherently bad, because I mean, you got a good character, or you got a characterization of the person, and you get to learn why they're doing things, but as a whole, it just kind of felt rushed and repetitive to me. So, a lot of people may disagree with me on that, I understand, but it's just the way I saw it. But one thing that really stood out to me is at the very end, JJ's development made no freaking sense and came out of nowhere. That I will stand by. And then, with that, I will say skating kind of got repetitive at the end. Unlike in other shonens and stuff, yeah, we get to see basketball games over and over again, but there is some differences when it came to the things that happen in the game. More exciting things can happen. Same thing for almost any sports anime. This time, it's harder to say that because it's skating, and we see reused animation. The only things that really change are the motivations that we hear in their head, and you might be on your seat seeing what's gonna happen, which, if you can easily predict what's gonna happen, that loses its purpose and focus of the show, because you know Yuri's gonna make it far, because otherwise there would be not much point to the show. So by the end, the skating can lose its prominence, and it kind of feels repetitive and not as entertaining as it used to be at the beginning. So my big problem with the show is it starts out strong. It's entertaining to watch. Fluidity of animation. Characterizations were strong. We learned who everybody was. But by the end of the show, a lot of it just felt repetitive. It didn't do much to change at the end. That's why I'm very split on this. It starts great and then it ends a little weaker on almost every aspect. But they do hint at this season 2, and maybe they will change a lot of this stuff. And hopefully this time it won't be as predictable as how things will end. And we'll get characterization of characters outside of backstory in the skating rink, which would be very nice to see. But that is it. I know I'll probably get a lot of hate for this video because I know a lot of people love this anime, and I really liked it too. I enjoyed it, but there were obvious problems that I had with the show that can be fixed in Season 2, which is, again, most likely going to come. So tell me what y'all think of Yuri on Ice. And yep, my name's Arcane Keeplet, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.